Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Recipe Redemption. My name is Mike Uyak, and today we're going to be exploring peanut butter stuffed onions, because that's a thing, or it was a thing. So, Great Depression era, 1930s, times were tough, supplies were thin, and so you tried to make do with what you had and what was readily available and easily available. Onions were readily available. In fact, people grew them themselves, which is why they were more commonly found than other produce. You could grow them pretty much anywhere in the United States. Peanut butter was also very common and very readily available. And stale breadcrumbs. Everybody had at least a little bit of bread from somewhere. So those are the three ingredients for this recipe. Essentially, you take an onion, you peel it, cut off both ends of it, scoop out the middle, making it into a bowl, and then stuff it full of a 2-to-1 ratio of peanut butter and breadcrumbs. Bake at 375 for about an hour. Pretty much it. And according to the recipe, which comes to us from the Bureau of Home Economics, government bureau that was formed to basically help people get through the Great Depression. Come up with all sorts of handy tips for how to stretch your buying dollar and make those pantry ingredients work for you. So this is what they describe as a presentable dish, quote unquote, creates a presentable dish is how they describe it. Well, we'll be the judge of that, won't we? So, here is my peanut butter stuffed onion. Now, as the breadcrumbs absorb some of the moisture from the onion, they swell, and so it kind of bubbles out the top. I accounted for this. I only stuffed it right up to the very top, but no further, and it only erupted a little bit. So let's just try the filling first, because it looks, the onion doesn't really look that appetizing, so it almost looks like more of a presentation than something you're supposed to eat, but you are supposed to eat it. The onion is the part that actually has a lot of vitamins and minerals that are good for nutrition. The peanut butter and the breadcrumbs are really there as stomach filler. There's obviously some nutrition in the peanut butter, but generally speaking, you're really going for the onion. But let's try the stuffing first. Gritty. The breadcrumbs don't really soften up, so it's kind of gritty. Let's see if I can dig down, because the stuff on top is kind of almost a little overcooked. No, that's not bitter. So the stuff on top that sort of erupted out of the top tastes kind of like an overdone peanut butter cookie, which is not horrible. The stuff that's down a little further was in contact with the onion and therefore got some of that onion flavor into it. It loses some of the sweetness. It loses the toastiness from being on top. Now, let's try it with some onion. Now, the outside of the onion gets kind of dried out, so it almost becomes, onion paper that you worked so hard, or maybe not that hard, but you worked to remove in the first place, and now you just created a new layer of it, but whatever. Okay, well, it cooked through. I am really having a hard time getting a forkful of this onion. Let's make sure we have some peanut butter with it. So we have a full bite, and this is probably nuclear hot. Together, that's a really weird texture. They're clashing textures. The sort of sandy goopiness of the peanut butter mixture with the slight firm crunch of the mostly cooked onion. And the flavors don't really go well together. Yeah, I can't recommend that. So, in a discussion of peanut butter and onions, I thought it useful to make mention of Ernest Hemingway, because Papa had a favorite snack that he called the Mount Everest. I'm not entirely sure why, but he called it a Mount Everest, which was a peanut butter sandwich with thinly sliced onions and a spread of salted butter on one of the slices of bread. That's it. It was mentioned in his book, the novel Islands in the Stream, and he called it a Mount Everest for whatever reason. I haven't read the book, so maybe they explain it in there. But he ate it so often it became popularly known simply as the Hemingway. So we have a Hemingway. We'll see if this actually tastes better than the peanut butter stuffed onion. I can only imagine. It's better. The salted butter, I guess it adds a little bit of richness. I guess because it's salted, it adds a little bit of seasoning too, but I don't really notice it in there. The onion does give a little bit of a crunch that otherwise a peanut butter sandwich wouldn't have. Even with this, I have a kind of a 9-grain bread because that's what I happen to have. Flavor-wise, I'm not sure I get it. It doesn't really do anything for me. It's better than the peanut butter stuffed onion. I think that fresh raw onion kind of has a bit more of a bite to it. Overall, it's not that exciting to me. So, how exactly does one redeem this? In particular, the peanut butter stuffed onion. Don't do it. Just don't do it. People did this. This has become sort of a notorious recipe item from the Great Depression era, and it highlights that it was called the Great Depression for more than one reason. I can't recommend it. And honestly, anything that you sort of relates to the concept of, stuffing peanut butter into an onion, there's really nothing you can do with that. But how can you combine the flavors of peanut butter and onion or alliums? If you went in the shallot direction or even garlic or whatever, is there something that we can do where we can combine the flavor of peanut butter or the flavor of peanuts with onion? First thing that comes to mind is satay sauce. Sorry, I have chunky peanut butter, so I have bits of peanut floating around my mouth. First thing is satay sauce, that peanut sort of a not too viscous peanut butter based sauce that goes along with skewers of Thai satay. That's perfectly fine, but going a little further, how will we combine peanuts and onions? I think we can try something new. So this is just a half a cup of sugar, quarter cup of beef stock, and I am adding some peanuts. It would be better if I had raw, but they're not. and about a tablespoon and a half of onion powder. Cook down until basically all of the moisture has been cooked out and it starts to caramelize. And then I turn it out onto a silpat that I have sprinkled some just powdered Parmesan cheese on it. And this turns out to be really, really sticky. So this is a bit of a challenge, uh, but we shall persevere and overcome. And the easiest thing I could do is actually use the silpat to kind of fold the Parmesan into the peanuts, since they didn't really want to stir exactly. So I just sort of folded them over and then spread them back out. And that kind of helped to incorporate the Parmesan onto them. And then just let them sit and cool for about another 15 minutes. And here is the something new. French onion, Spanish style peanuts. Totally an experiment. I think it needs to be tinkered with a little bit, because Spanish peanuts, generally they're not quite as sticky. They've been coated, and I think there's a bit of a process where you get the peanuts and you have kind of like there's a hopper for making for coating candies that basically rotates it. It's like it looks like a cement mixer, and basically it tosses the candies or whatever, the sticky things, around, and then you pour in the powdered coating, and it coats them, and they get individually coated. You need something like that for this, maybe, I don't know, but there are two or three peanut clusters that I can pick out of this, so good enough. I'm really concerned about the flavor. So, as a reminder, caramelized sugar, just the sticky part, and then beef stock reduced down to nothing, and onion powder that we've added to this. So, and then coated with a little bit of Parmesan, because you need a little cheese on your crouton on your French onion soup. So that's a component to this flavor. So let's try it out. So the peanut flavor is still right up front. Ooh, oh. And then there's an evolution. Oh, I like that. So the sweetness balances with the saltiness of the beef stock, and you get a sort of a burst of beefy flavor and a little bit of onion. Try again. So that cluster, I tasted the Parmesan right away. Fades into the peanut. Peanut fades. You get the beef. And you do get the onion. So the flavors don't happen all together, but there is sort of an evolution. These could be dangerous. These are actually delicious. I recommend you try this. I need to tinker with the recipe a little bit more to figure out how to make them individually coated and less sticky, because this is a little messy, but they're delicious. And a really interesting flavor. I am digging that a lot. So what do you think? I cannot recommend that you try the peanut butter stuffed onions. That's just not a thing that we should hold on to. The Hemingway, if that's your thing, if you actually grew up eating this thing, then go for it. It's not really for me, but it's not bad. The French onion peanuts, however, I wholeheartedly recommend that. These are delicious. Good bit of salt, so you will probably want a nice beverage to go with that. But I think it would definitely stack up to a nice beer. Even whiskey. Yeah, bourbon will match well with the peanut flavor. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments below. As always, like, subscribe. If you haven't already, hit the bell for notifications, all that good stuff. And I'd like to thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time here on Recipe Redemption.